Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. We have a whole lot happening with XRP today. It's all very good. And it's time to partay. P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta. How many of you actually know what movie that's from? Like, I'm showing my age now. Anyway, put that in the comment section if you do. Let's start here. Ripple versus SEC. Court orders plaintiff to submit redactions. Oh, major. This is huge. This is major. Now, there's no guarantee that we're going to find anything in those documents. However, if they're redacting things, it leads me to believe that the SEC has something to hide. We know. Well, I can't say we know for a fact, but we strongly believe that there is corruption at every level in that institution, in that governmental entity. Strange things have been going on at the SEC for quite some time, I might add. They do things that make absolutely no sense. They work backward. They're backward minded. And so there's so many things that don't make sense at the SEC, but let's just delve into this article. Okay. I don't want to hold you up too long here. Magistrate judge, by the way, this is from u.today. Go over to their website. You can't miss this article. It's on the front page, at least right now. I don't know if they're going to move it. Magistrate Judge Sarah Netburn has ordered the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to submit all of its suggested redactions for in-camera review. In-camera, this judge. Listen, right now, this judge is doing a great job. Right now, this is the judge that you need, that we need, that Ripple needs. This is huge. In-camera review, they won't be able to hide anything. That's great. We don't need them doing this without some supervisor over their shoulder where they can hide things and possibly be exposed for their corruption because that's what we need. The SEC, let's get back to the article. The SEC is supposed to file them before April the 8th. In her January 13th ruling, the judge determined that the deliberate process privilege, DPP, does not apply to certain sets of notes since gathering facts from third parties is not necessarily a privileged activity. None of the notes contains attorney-client communications, which is why they are not shielded from production. However, the judge also allowed the SEC to redact portions of notes that reflect the staff's own deliberations or communications. I would have hoped that wouldn't be allowed, but what can you do? You can't win them all. You just can't. We have to be realistic here. However, the judge also allowed the SEC. Oh, okay, we already read that part. In late March, the plaintiff filed a motion specifically asking the judge to allow redacting some of the notes. Listen, just that alone tells you that, I mean, look, it could go one of two ways. Okay, let me be logical, all right, and just step a little bit beyond, all right? Let's use deductive reasoning. There's two possibilities. One, they have something to hide. That's one possibility. That's like the gleaming one that's easy to spot. The other, this is a distraction. This is a huge distraction, a masterful chess move. You make a noise in the east and you strike in the west to divert Ripple's attention and focus, to divert the court's focus. So there's two possibilities here. I mean, we will find out, but I keep that in mind that there's always two possibilities and you can't always go with what is obvious. I understand Occam's razor. Okay. The simplest answer is typically the correct one, but we don't always end up with the typical answer, right? Especially in this realm of corruption. So there's always the two possibilities there, but we will see how this plays out. But as of right now, this is going very good as of right now. So we have to keep our eyes out for this. All right, but this is huge. And if there's anything found there, maybe we can get this case over with a little bit more quickly, which would then mean what? XRP's price raise a toe. XLM's price along with XRP, raise a tone. Algorand's price, raise the tone. Algorand's price will go up. So if we can get this case over with, it would be very good. Now, let's move on to another article. Here we have, this is actually from, this is from Cointelegraph, but it was retweeted by Ripple. As such, Ripple to give out 1 billion XRP in developer grants. 1 billion. It's about to begin. The rapid expansion of Ripple is about to begin. This is what it signals to me. They're ready for the flood of developers to come into the ecosystem, and they will be branching out sort of like, okay, so you see what Algorand is doing, how they're into everything. They have some stuff going on with government, some stuff going on with banks. They have some corridors open. They're rolling out payroll. They're helping out Bitcoin. They're possibly helping out Ethereum. So you see how Algorand is into everything? Cross-border remittances, B2B, Algorand is doing everything. Ripple looks like they're about to do the same thing. And let me tell you something. If they actually can put, if they actually take the pathway that I'm thinking, you might see a little pop in that price earlier than expected. However, we have to wait to see how this plays out. But as of right now, this is very good. Let's just read a little bit of this article, okay? Ripple XRP, the enterprise payment technology company, plans to give out 1 billion XRP in grants for developers. The newly announced grant is an extension of the company's XRPL grants program, an extension, which was launched in 2021. The developer grant would be focused on encouraging open source projects on the XRPL ledger built for enterprise remittance assistance. Ripple has built a strong foothold in the Asia Pacific region. I told you, they're ready to take over. They're ready for rapid expansion. And I think they don't want to give up ground to a lot of other crypto that are in that same region. They want to dominate. Ripple always wants to dominate. And I'll tell you what, and I'm going to say this in the best way possible, that there was a higher up at a particular foundation that says some things about Ripple recently. And when I read it, I'm not going to get too much in detail. Some of you know what I'm talking about. When I read what they said, I said, uh-oh, listen, Ripple is competitive. Listen, Ripple is competitive. Although all the bank coins are going to win, Ripple will want to dominate that corridor. You don't need to put that attention on yourself. They have big money behind them. And they can very easily expand. And it looks like maybe, I'm going out there on a limb, maybe they're responding. And they're saying, okay, you're in the Southeast Asia as well. You're gonna get some money, but we're gonna take as much money as we can. We're gonna show you where Ripple, where XRP, we're gonna back up with XRP Army believes that we are the one. We're the big money movers. So although you have a foothold, sure, you have a foothold in Southeast Asia, we're going to dominate. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. But let's just continue on a little bit here. I could be completely wrong. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Ripple has built a strong foothold in the Asia Pacific region through its XRPL-based remittance technology called RippleNet. RippleNet offers a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network with the help of the XRPL ledger. Let me just stop right there for a moment. That entire region, if you look at the banks that Ripple has signed up to work with them in that particular region, some of the larger businesses, that money is going to be wonderful, amazing. And when I stop to think about, and I do this often, when I stop to think about all the money that could be flown through XRP from all of the businesses, and keep in mind, businesses, commercial banks, central banks, it's mind blowing how many different large institutions, how much big money could flow through XRP. But keep in mind, when there's regulatory clarity, the small businesses will begin to flood their money into XRP. They will need it more than anybody. They will benefit more than anybody. If they can get in early enough, they will pounce on it. They're just waiting for regulatory clarity. Now, in that region in particular, Small business is exploding and will continue to explode. You have a lot of tourist money. Not only do you have locals in that region thriving, lots of tourist money going through that region. Not only that, economically, those regions are starting to grow at a rapid pace. But as I said before, there are a lot of people moving out of the so-called developed countries. And they're moving into those regions, starting businesses. And those businesses are going to thrive. Those businesses are going to explode. What does it do to that price if they begin to use something like XRP? I have to throw XLM in there also. Stellar's in that region. They're in that region. I would expect if Algorand is not already building corridors to be later announced in that region, I'm going to assume Algorand is going to be in that region as well. What's it going to do to those prices when all of that money is flowing through those protocols? Possibly no guarantees, of course. Let's go to another article here. This one is actually from Ripple.com. Like I said, a lot is happening. A lot is happening. This one is titled CBDCs from the hype to the how of making financial inclusion a reality. Part 2. So there was a part 1 here. In our recent survey of over 1,600 financial leaders across 22 countries, we uncovered some pretty astounding insights. A whopping 85% of payment leaders at financial institutions globally think their country will launch a digital currency in the next 4 years. Now that makes a lot of sense why Ripple, in that document that we read, it was maybe about a month or two ago, they said it would take about 4 years to have everything fully up and running, to have infrastructure fully set up for all of these different places. 4 years is what they said. And now they are corroborating what they said prior to this. Here, read that again. They're ready to launch a digital currency in the next 4 years, which means Ripple has to be ready for all of them and accommodate them in all of the ways that they want to be accommodated. They have 4 years to do it. And I believe that they can. Let's continue on here. In these last 2 years, in a redacted, have taught us anything. It should say if a redacted, actually. But let's continue on with how they wrote it. In a redacted, have taught us anything, it's that time flies. So this begs the question, what needs to happen between now and 4 years from now in order to make those launches possible? See, I was just talking about this. I told you they have to prepare. It turns out there's quite a bit to consider, not only as central bankers and commercial bankers, but as individuals as well. Ripple sounds a lot like Alphanim right now. Like they're saying the same thing I just said. I didn't read this article beforehand. I give you guys things a lot of the time right on the spot. We pretty much read the stuff together, unless it's a PDF or transcript, then those types of things that I consider highly important I've read beforehand. But some of these little articles like this, we just go over it together. So we're friends. In our first post on this topic, we discuss why the term financial inclusion has become such a buzzword when talking about central bank digital currencies and how we at Ripple succinctly define it. While the insight gleaned from our research is promising and the uptick in global CBDC exploration encouraging, there is still much to be addressed in regards to how the implementation of these digital currencies will impact society and what primary hurdles we need to collectively overcome in order to achieve that vision of a more financially inclusive future. I want to stop right there. Listen, Ripple wants all of the money. They want to be high in hundreds of billions of dollars. As far as individuals, they're a for-profit company. They want to be the best company possible. They want to access all of the money. They want to prove their naysayers wrong. Let's just be realistic here. But I understand. This is for the people of the world. This is for the lay person within the banking systems that might actually believe this and be inspired by it. And this will cause those people to embrace Ripple. Oh, they're our saviors. They want inclusion. They want money. They want money. All right. I like to cut through all of the facade and all of the illusoriness and get right to the crux of things. They want the money. OK, But this is what they're saying. Key use is that's just my humble opinion. They want the money. Key use cases. A quick recap, and I don't blame them. As a refresher, in the first post, we identified 3 primary use cases where we see CBDCs have the biggest immediate impact on financial inclusion across the payments and financial landscape. Cross-border remittances, access to peer-to-peer loans. I told you about that a long time ago, didn't I? And the ability to establish credit history. If properly planned for and implemented, the application of digital currency technology to these use cases has the potential to dramatically change the landscape for the better. Let me stop there. It has the potentiality to save the banking system that everybody's tired of. I want to say this, okay? I was on another social media site and I saw a video. And on that video, there was a rapper, okay? And that rapper went to take out some of his money. That rapper wanted to take out about $100,000, right? And I told you that the banks do this. I told you they do it. This is why people are tired of the banks and don't trust them with their money. They don't have your money. Isn't that crazy? They gave someone else your money, loaned your money out. So when you come for all your money, they may not have it. And they don't have to. They don't have to have your money. That's insanity to me. This rapper went to take out $100,000. The bank only gave him $30,000. What? Are you serious right now? He wanted his 100,000. They could only give him 30,000. They don't have your money. They're lending your money out, making money on your money. So when you die, if you needed that money because your life was on the line for some reason, who knows? But I want to make it extreme so we could drive home a point. But if you needed that money, your life was on the line, they couldn't give you that money. They couldn't give it to you. Someone in your family needs that money because their life is on the line and you want to save them. They couldn't even give you all of your money. Unbelievable. The banking system is in trouble. This is what I was telling you also, circling back around, about stable coins. They don't pose a threat whatsoever to the bank coins. In fact, they need the bank coins to be properly used. The banks are going to do the same thing with digital cash as they do with regular cash. They cannot give you all of your money all at once. They can't. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the fact that they're going to have even more money because now, because of digital, because of crypto, because of stable coins, they'll be able to access money they didn't even have before, which means there's going to be more money that the bank has to play with. And if they're mismanaging things now, don't you ever think for 1 second that they're not going to mismanage it later, since they did not learn a new way of thinking and behavior. No, in my opinion, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to mismanage even more people's money and even bigger amounts of money, since they will have more of that accessible. They will need liquidity, a liquidity cushion. Whether it's XRP or XLM or whatever they're going to use, they're going to need a liquidity solution because they don't have your money on hand. But they're not going to stop loaning out your money to make money. They're not going to do that. So if properly planned for and implemented, the application of digital currency to these use cases has the potential to dramatically change the landscape for the better, making the world a more accessible and inclusive place. Across all of these use cases, however, there is a consistent set of practical hurdles to solve. Remember I was saying last year there's an education curve? Here we go. I told you. Education. That's number one for them. Literally, number one. User experience, training. Number two, identity, offline access, and security, which actually, I believe it was the individual from the Atlantic Council in that video that we went over. And I think maybe we went over that. Maybe that was in the members only section, but we went over that video. We didn't actually watch the video, but we went over the happenings within that. But that individual stated that security was actually first for the banks. That's what they wanted to work on first and the most, security, which makes sense to me. Like I said, they can't have all this data being leaked. If they're trying to bring in new people with these stable coins and possibly utilizing cryptocurrencies and such like that in various capacities, they have to build trust with those customers. A lot of these people don't use banks. I'm telling you, I know this personally. A lot of people don't use banks, but let's say they want to give the bank a chance. Well, they can't come into the bank and then have their identity stolen because the bank security is absolutely terrible right now. Terrible. It's how a lot of people are getting their identity stolen. So I understand why that high individual from the AtlanticCouncil.org, Atlantic Council, they do the CBDC tracker. Okay, you can check them out. Why they would say security is of the utmost importance. So everything's looking good. The future is very bright. Major things are happening with XRP. I'm going to assume we're going to get a lot of new updates and various different ways from all of these different things they have going on with Ripple. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.